Okay, I think we're live. I'm just going to go and check a couple of our broadcast locations. Let's check YouTube, make sure we're actually streaming. If we are streaming on YouTube, you can send me a comment. It looks like we're live. I can see myself. Good. I'll close that down now so I'm not getting an echo. I think we're also broadcasting to Algora, tv.algora.io. Yep, we're there. Good. Okay, we're all set up. So, hello everyone. Welcome back to another stream. Just 1 second. Door. Okay, I'll be back in 1 minute. Excellent timing on the Amazon delivery there, but let's get to it now. Okay, so live streaming. We're going to do some development again. Okay, I think I've got to catch up on a few things, a bit of news because I've not streamed for a while. In the time since the last stream, there's been a bunch of stuff that's happened, very interesting developments. First of all, we did an announcement a couple of weeks ago about a restructuring of Vendure with our parent agency, Elevantic. There's a blog on the blog post on vendure.io. I encourage you to read. Anyway, it's a great positive development. We're all super happy and it's going great so far. Check the blog post if you don't know about that already. What else? Yeah, we've got some, also mentioned in the blog post is that we have new core team members, which is amazing. I've been doing Vendure as a pretty much solo thing for many years, like 6 years. And now we actually have people who I can go and assign tickets to, and it's actually their job to do it, which is fantastic. Great feeling, and they're getting started this week. In fact, I've got a pair programming session with one of our new core maintainers tomorrow morning, and we're going to start on one of the tickets, which you will see on here. Let me share my screen. Here we go. Okay, so this is a view on our open source roadmap. And it's actually a really nice view that I discovered that GitHub supports, which is kind of like a timeline. The red line is where we are. The green line is version 3.1. That's our next feature release. And you can kind of see the issues with a timeline of when I think they're going to get done. And there's a few that haven't been assigned, but the major ones have been all assigned out and planned. One of them, so one I finished last week, which is a caching mechanism, cache strategy, which is a really, really cool one for performance. I won't go deeply into it, but if you want to have a look, it's quite there's quite an in-depth kind of design and spec and kind of planning thread where you can read all about the details of how that's implemented. But that's going to be a big performance boost for a lot of use cases. And today, what I want to work on is this one. This is implement relational structured data in custom fields. By the way, I just want to take a moment to say, I know there's some of you watching live. If you have any questions, just throw them in the chat. I've got a window open over here on this screen. I can see messages that you're sending, and I'll respond. You can interrupt me. It's okay. Feel free. I like the interaction. So yeah, this is the one I'm doing, structured data in custom fields. So for those of you who don't know, Vendure supports custom fields, which means you can basically define extra properties on various entities, and almost all the different entities like products, product variants, orders, customers, channels, and so on, they support this custom fields feature. another ticket actually in the 3.1 timeline somewhere here. This one right here. Let's open that. This one is basically going to add custom field supports to everything. So things that don't support custom fields right now, like refunds and sessions, shipping lines, stock levels, stock movements, we want to add custom field support for basically everything. And it makes sense because all of you guys come up with very novel designs and use cases that I just didn't predict while I was building everything. So it makes sense to just allow everything to be customized. So that's the plan. Custom fields can be like strings, booleans, integers, date times. They can be relations to other entities. But one thing that came up a lot is, and it came up for myself as well, I needed this quite a few times already, was the idea of having structured data. Like think of like a JSON field where you can define key values and have that be like rendered out into the admin UI, for example, like we see in the issue here. So this is composition ingredients where you can list out ingredients and then some value. I don't know, maybe that's like a percentage or something like that. And it could apply to everything, anything. Now, what you've had to do up until now is to basically store it as a string or a text type and just stringify the JSON. And then it's your responsibility to do JSON parse and JSON stringify whenever you're saving data or reading data out from that custom field. Then you also have to implement your own UI stuff, which is going to work with all that. And it's a lot of work and it's not type safe. So that's what we're looking at with this issue. So I come up with the idea of calling it struct. And yeah, I've got I made a whole comment about what should we call this? Because, you know, as they say, what is that famous quote? There's two hard things in computer science: cache invalidation and naming things. And then there's the variation, right? There's there's only two hard problems in computer science: cache invalidation, naming things, and off by one errors. Anyway, yeah, I put a lot of thought into the name, and I kind of go over the different options. Object. I started calling it object at first, and the types were just a mess because, you know, object is such an overloaded term. It was just confusing. It was confusing to actually implement. So at some point I said no. Then I evaluated all these different options, and I came back to struct. Kevin says C++ vibes with struct. That's right. And it's in a lot of languages, actually. They have native struct concept. And I guess these tend to be like lower level system type languages, but there's no reason we can't use it also for our TypeScript stuff. It's descriptive. It's well understood. And it's different from any other kind of term or keyword that we're using in Vendure currently. And that was really important. And once I switched over to struct, it just was easier. It was less confusing to actually implement. So the way it's going to work is like this. So you have custom fields, you have type struct, and once you use the type struct, you have fields. Let me make this bigger, actually. Ooh, too big. There we go. Once we have a struct type, we can give fields, and the fields are very, very similar to actual custom field definitions. It's kind of like a subset of custom fields. You can't, for example, have locale strings. You can't have like translatable strings. You can't have relations. That's about it. Just because those two is they would make it just so complicated to implement. The way this actually gets stored in the database is as a JSON type. So in Postgres and MySQL/MariaDB, there's a native JSON type. And the nice thing about that is that you can actually do operations on these JSON types. You can like do a select, and you can like filter on the keys and values of the JSON that's stored in this one column. What's this, Kevin? Magic. Magic. It will be like magic. but no, I'm going to stick with struct. But you can always fork it. It's open source. You can fork it and just change that one thing to magic. It's up to you. It's okay. Yeah, so this is how it is looking, and I actually started on last Friday. I started on this, and I was quite excited. Sometimes you just get into the zone, and this is one of those problems. This is one of those features that I can really get stuck into. It's fun and it's a good challenge. It's interesting and it's kind of complex and it's got its own challenges, but I made good progress. I will show you where I'm up to. So here is the Vendure mono repo where all of the magic happens. And I'm in dev config, which is like the dev server where I just kind of test whatever feature I'm working on. It's just a regular Vendure config object. And I've got an example of a struct custom field defined here. And basically, I'm just trying all the different field types. String. No, I'm not. I'm trying some of them. String, string, integer, date time. Okay, I'm missing out Boolean and text, but it doesn't matter. It's okay for now. So let's run it. Let's go into packages and dev server, and we will npm run dev to get that started. And in the meantime, let's switch to my favorite GraphQL client, Yak. And this is where I've been testing it already. So now the really cool thing, I think the best thing about this feature, above and beyond just storing a string and JSON parsing it, which is what you've had to do up until now, is the fact that we then get the type safety inside the GraphQL API. So if we're running, we're running. I can show you that here. So we're just getting a product because this custom field is defined on the product entity, as you can see there. And I select custom fields, and we've got this one custom field attributes. And as soon as I select it, you can see it's not a primitive type. It's not a scalar because we get the little squiggly saying we need a selection of subfields. Let me make this a bit bigger for you. Just a second. Let's go 18. I think that's good. Hey, David's here. Cool. Okay, so yeah, I can do the autocomplete and I get all the different selection of the available keys or fields, as they're actually called. And okay, this is interesting. Okay, so I made it into a list type, which is another cool thing. So this can be a list. Let's try and actually put some data in there. I'll comment that out. And let's go to the update product mutation. Okay, so we're updating the product with the ID 2. Oh, let's go 4. So we're doing the same one that I was selecting before. And the custom fields, we're setting the attributes. I feel like this should probably be an array because I've made it a list now. Like that. Okay. Oh, good. Okay, so we got it there. And let's hey, let's do another one. Let's add 2. I actually didn't test this yet, so this is good. Blue, green, big. Wood, no. Metal. The weight is something else, and the date, I can't be bothered typing a new date, so I'll leave that the same. Okay, that looks like it's working. Let's comment that out. Yeah, the autocomplete is amazing. I mean, it's one of the killer features of GraphQL, the statically typed schema. All right, you can see we've got a nice list of structs here, so that's working really nicely. So I'm actually going to do some coding as well today, not just showing off. The backend part's like pretty much working pretty well, as you can see. Um, yeah, I already showed that we support lists. We also support we support validation on here. So yeah, I could probably demonstrate that. Let's say the color, we could put a validate function, and I think we would take the value, and if okay, wow, chat GPT, sorry, Copilot, kind of reading my mind again. If it's not red, green, or blue, we're gonna reject that. Let's see if that works. So we'll just restart that, and I wonder what's gonna happen because we've already got green and blue. Okay, so we've got no invalid colors at the moment. I will try and make an invalid color. So let's go back to the mutation. First of all, test that everything's still working. Good. And now we'll try black. All right, invalid color. Cool. So we've got validation working. So all the features that you would expect on regular custom fields can be found and applied into struct fields as well. As I said, there's some limitations like you can't, at the moment, you can't specify, can you specify nullable? I'm not sure about whether it makes sense to support nullable or not. I need to think about that a bit more. But other than that, like we can have min max on number types. We can have a pattern, like a regex for strings. We can have options. So you get a drop down, like an enumeration for strings. All that stuff is pretty much implemented now. We have custom field struct. We have an end-to-end test suite, which is already in place and is testing all the kind of main stuff that you would expect. So that's all. The backend part's done. So what I was working on more recently is the front end part, because we want to be able to have it so that if you have a struct type or struct custom field, the admin UI will just generate all the UI that you need, like it does for all the other custom fields. Before I go any further, oh, we've got a question. What's this? Can you also select UI input forms per field? Yes, that is the plan. It's not implemented yet because I've not really done the front end, but yeah, it will be that way. Nested JSON would also work, right? Samuel, are you the one who added a kind of extra feature request? Is this you? So there's a feature request already on the incomplete issue, which is like basically support nesting. So here you've got a product with a struct custom field. It's got some fields, but you'll notice one of these fields is itself a struct. Do I want to support that? I'm not decided yet. And the reason is, I mean, I can see that it's super powerful. My worry, if we start supporting that and with like infinite nesting, is that people are going to start using it for things that it maybe is not best suited for. Like instead of like once you get to the point where you've got this data structure, like a person with these relations, basically, maybe it should just be an actual entity at that point. So I've not made a decision, but it is entirely possible. It's just going to make it way more complex, the implementation, I think. It's already pretty complex if we look. Let me show you. GraphQL custom fields. Okay, so this is the file where it kind of, is this it? GraphQL, yeah. This is it. Is it this one? No. Sorry. Custom field types. Yeah. So this is where the TypeScript like magic is happening to power all the type stuff for the structs and all the other custom fields. And it is there's a lot of stuff in there. It's like advanced TypeScript that is. I want to limit the amount of this type of TypeScript code that we have in the code base, because although it's cool that TypeScript can do this stuff, it's complex, and every time I got to like work on it, I've got to like spend some time remembering how it all works again. So yeah, I've not decided on the nestable stuff, but we will see. We will see. It's always, it's always something we could add in the future if everyone's like saying, "Hey, it totally makes sense to have this. We need it." Then we can revisit that. What does David say? Yeah, exactly, exactly. Um, that's my fear. Like nesting is potentially a path to lots of maintenance woes in the future. Yeah, I do not want to implement like a full document storage engine in custom fields for sure. Okay, so you got your answer now. We will see. Well, you can always open another issue. Just a second. Everything's totally blue. I need to switch the big light on. Hold on. Okay. Ah, better, better. A bit warmer. Feels a bit more cozy now with the light. Better to look at this. Words of wisdom from Amit. Better to keep it simple. These are words to live by. Right. With that in mind, let's dive into some really complex stuff. Um, we have the dev server running, right? Yes, good. So what else we need to run is we need to go and do the admin UI. So let's go to packages, admin UI, and we'll do npm run start. Is it start? Yeah, I think it's start. I recently changed some of the script from start to dev, but maybe I left this one to start. I think so. So we will run the admin UI and we'll see what happens. I've actually not even tested this yet. What happens if we view a product detail page and it runs into this struct type? What is it actually going to display? Subscriptions are coming. Yeah, while that builds, let's have a little tour of what's coming up. So, oh my god, it's too big now. It's too big. Here we go. Yeah, we have GraphQL subscriptions, which is David's already started on that. Apparently, it became more complex than we initially thought, which is probably why we never implemented it yet. But yeah, we aim to get GraphQL subscriptions. What else is what other cool stuff? Order interceptor. That's another cool one. Yeah, there's a whole issue with lots of use cases. There's loads of use cases of this thing, and it's been requested a lot. So that's the next big thing I'm going to work on after this custom field stuff. We've got lots of people watching. Alam, welcome back. And congrats on the $0 million seed funding. Yes. I know we're very happy about that. And yeah, just to confirm, subscriptions are the cause of sleepless nights for David. It's not easy. But everyone, look at this. There's demand. What? Okay, there's an emoji fail there. There we go. Good. Yep. It's tough. Subscriptions are kind of tough because they go right to the heart of the whole request response cycle, and Vendure internally makes some assumptions about what a request looks like, and it kind of assumes it's like an express request, and it'll have a rec object with all this stuff on it. With GraphQL subscription, it's totally different. It's WebSockets, I believe, and it's just different, and that's causing troubles. Anyway, maybe that's another live stream where we get our teeth stuck into that. Let's have a look right now. What's going to happen? So, by the way, I hope dark mode's working again for everyone. I like to do light mode though. That was a little bug we had in a recent patch release, but then it was fixed. But I know it's like a horrible sin to take away dark mode, but now it should be back. Let's have a look at what a product detail looks like. Oh, great, 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 great. So just errors. So the field attributes, let's have a look. Missed it. Let's go to the GraphQL. Why don't I see GraphQL network tab? Let's go back again. Try it again. Okay, get product detail. Let's also make this bigger and this. What's this? Subscriptions are nice at all, but when 3095, let me guess, Kevin, is that the one about uh, permissions, the structure of permissions? 3095? Yes, it is. Okay, okay, okay. Um, it's not on the roadmap yet. We have a full roadmap, but we have it in our sites. Definitely know that that's an issue for a lot of people doing multi-vendor with lots of channels. So let's have a look at what the error is. You know, it's good when you change something and stuff breaks because it means that there's something to do, there's something to fix. You know, when I write, when I'm fixing something or implementing a feature, I always like to write a test, like an end-to-end test, and make sure that it fails first. And that's really important because sometimes you write tests and they're not testing the thing you think they're testing, and they don't, and they never fail. And if you don't check that it fails, then you've got a useless test. So this is failing with field attributes, uh, must have a selection of subfields, right? Because let's have a look at the query. We're getting where custom fields, yeah, attributes. So we have some code somewhere in the admin UI, which will look at the custom fields object, and it will automatically add it into the whatever query is being made dynamically. So let's find that bit. Now here's a test of my knowledge of this code base. Add custom fields. The name is just spot on in this case. Very easy to find. Add custom fields. So this function, let's just put this in a bit of context. We have this data service, this base data service, which is what all requests to the GraphQL API go through this base data service through either the query method or the mutate method. And both of these will run this add custom fields function. And it takes the query, which is a document node. Document node is, yeah, it's like the plain object representing a GraphQL query or mutation. It takes the custom field, the kind of a map of the custom field definitions that we get from the server. So we know what fields are available on what entity. And then an option, include custom. Oh yeah, so this was a recent addition. We can optionally pass it an array of custom fields to include or not include. That was a performance optimization for the list view mainly. So if we go in here, this is where stuff needs to change. Let's step through. So first of all, we clone the document node. We find all the fragment definitions and we loop over them, and we kind of figure out what the entity is for this fragment definition. So in this case, like it would be product in this product detail view. There's some edge cases for addresses and countries that we need to handle. We don't need to go into that too deeply. And then we get all the custom field configuration for this particular type. So in the case of the product, we should have one, which is this attributes thing. Okay, and then what do we do? We're selection nodes, we're mapping over those custom field definitions, and we're turning them into these field nodes. These are like a data structure that is part of this GraphQL document node, saying it's a field, it's of this particular name of whatever the custom field is, attributes in this case. And here we go. So in the case of relation, we've got this special code path where we have to like list out all the scalar fields of that relation. So let's say if we were relating to a facet, we would get the name and the code and the ID and the created out, updated out, all these scalar fields. And we would add that to the selection of the GraphQL document. We basically need to do something very, very similar in the case of a struct. So it would go something like this. Custom. Okay, so let's just, you know what? Just copy and paste my way to victory here. If I can even copy paste, can I still do that? There we go. All right. If it is type struct, if it's a type struct, we want to we want to get we want to know what fields are available on that struct. Hmm. So where is that information available? In the case of relation custom fields, uh, selections, custom field dot scalar fields. Uh-huh. Where is this coming from? Hmm. So at this point, I probably want to just go and just set a breakpoint. Sometimes it's too, you're trying to store all this context in your head and it gets too, at least for me, it gets too difficult. And I just got to go and do a breakpoint and just look with my eyes, observe the physical universe, what is actually happening. Add custom field. So let's find that file here. And let's go right where will it be? Well, let's go here. Let's set. Thanks. Thanks, auto reload. Okay, can I now do it? Let's do that. Okay, let's jump in there. So we hit the breakpoint. Let's see what we got. So we have custom fields for the type. We have struct. We have the struct custom field. Ah, great. So we got all the field definitions right there. This is really cool. That's what we need, isn't it? Okay, good. So I think I understand. So we should be able to say struct custom field config. No. Custom field fragment. Do we have that? Yes. And yeah, good. Good old TypeScript. It knows that it should be fields. Surely it can't be so simple. I'm being abused again about my choice of operating system. All right, get a few signatures and someone can buy me a new M4 Max Pro or whatever. I'll use it. Let's try it again. Oops. Let's put a breakpoint in this time. Okay. Let's put a breakpoint here. Okay, let's see what we've got. So we've got a string, yes, name color, good. Okay, that seems okay. I think the error is different this time. Use Temple OS. Is that the one I think you were talking about? That one guy built, and it's really weird. If so, I once had an interaction with that guy in some comment section of some blog post somewhere, and it was really, really strange. Anyway, let's go and look at the actual query that we're sending and see if no, that's the wrong one. Is it? I don't think we're even getting to that point, are we? We're not getting to that point. Something's failing here. What's this? Transform.js. It sounds like something internal that I shouldn't be touching. Yeah, that's inside GraphQL. Okay. So there's something wrong with our GraphQL. What is wrong with the GraphQL? Let's go breakpoint here. What's what's so shocking? I mean, I can understand being surprised, but shocked. I mean, shock is a strong emotion, right? It's not shocking, surely, that I'm using Windows. So we've done this selection node. Let's have a look at this object. Make that bigger. Where we go? Selection nodes. Okay. So if you've never seen, yeah, okay, I've got some support here. Thanks, Alan. That's why I gave you a free T-shirt. The thing for that kind of support. Okay, I take it back. All right. Let's look at this selection nodes thing. So if you've never seen so when you write GraphQL, you often will use like this syntax where um just like you see here. This is how we used to write in GraphQL documents. But actually internally they get converted into a regular data structure, which is what it looks like this. And if you've ever done any work with abstract syntax trees, then it's very familiar. It's basically an abstract syntax tree showing all the selections. So let's just have a look at what we've got. We've got we've got this field. The name is attributes, and we've got then the selections is an array of fields, and we've got the name, and this should be oh that's wrong. That's wrong. Right, that value should not be that. It should be color. So that's why debugging is so good. The value, right? I can't edit that one. I got to edit this one. That should be name. Okay. Fun fact: Remix team usually asks me to if they have some weird Windows issues to test it. Yeah, I mean that's good, but you just like the Windows whipping boy. Oh, we've got a Windows problem. I give it to Alam. He's the only one who uses Windows. Now here's Lacey with the voice of reason and compassion. It could be the case, and it might well be the case. I could switch to Mac OS and I would be like more productive, but I've got this. I've just got this hang up that like I don't want to go through that period where you just feel like useless and you don't know any keyboard shortcuts, and you know that's it really. How did this just turn into a Windows discussion? Let's get back to Vendure here, please. So let's see if this works. I've got a feeling this might work. What's this? Yeah, that's the thing, David. You've not realized my next decree as CTO is that everyone's switching to Windows. There's the announcement. Right. Let's see if this works. Ooh, okay, this is good. This is good. So our query is actually working. Let's go to custom fields. Yes, we're enumerating all the fields of that struct. Very good. I think this doesn't have any custom fields. What are we on? ID 54. No. Let's go. Which one was it? It was number 4. ID, whatever product it was, the ID 4. ID 4. Let's see if I know what ID 4 is. So number 1 is laptop. Number 2 is tablet. Is it? No, I don't know. I'm not that much of a nerd. Laptop, tablet. Okay, it's the monitor. It's the monitor. So this should give us some values. Custom fields, attributes. Yeah, here we go. Look at that. That was actually easier than I thought it was going to be. Getting back to the Windows topic a second. Windows WSL is actually pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. It is good. It's good. I mean, whenever I need, to be honest, I use Git Bash. I don't even use WSL that much. I use Git Bash for day-to-day work just because it seems faster. But I use if I ever need to do like rsync or something like that or SSH somewhere, then I would just switch over to WSL and it just works fine. What's this? OMG, what? That I use Git Bash. I know this is sacrilege. Can you even trust me as the maintainer of this project anymore? Yeah, imagine how productive I would be with good tools. In fact, I almost it's just scary. So I feel like I need to hold myself back just to give everyone else a chance. That's the real reason. All right. So we're getting all the data we need. What are we rendering? We're just rendering like nothing right now. Attributes, like we don't know what to render. Okay. Quick question here from Alan about Vendure. It runs alongside your custom app, and it's an SJS-based custom server, right? I don't. It depends what you mean by a custom app. So it is based on Nest.js, but if you're talking about your custom app, as in your custom kind of your custom logic for e-commerce and stuff, that all runs within Vendure. It's a plugin based system. So you would write if you had a wishlist feature, you would write a wishlist plugin, which would be a Vendure plugin, runs inside the process, the same Nest process, uses all the Nest infrastructure underneath. Okay. How much time we got? We got about 20 minutes left. Okay. Remix app, let's say. If you've got a remix app, right. If you've got a remix app, what I would say is that you should have your remix app totally separate. Use Vendure's GraphQL API to communicate with Vendure. That's probably the cleanest separation. You could in theory run them in the same process. If you were running your remix app as a long running node process, not serverless, you would not have a fun time trying to run Vendure on, like, I don't know, in some serverless context usually. But yeah, you could in theory run it in the same process. I never tried it. It would be an interesting little experiment. Right. Back to the matter at hand. There is a piece of code which looks at custom fields and it decides what to render. Let's find it. So this one's done. That was so easy. Wow. Custom field. Let's see if I can. How's the naming? Component. Custom field control component. Is it that? Is it that? Dynamic form input. I'm expecting to see like a switch case type of thing. List container. No, no, no. Button. No. Single. Where's that single thing? What is that? View child. Okay. Confusing. What am I looking at here? Custom field control. Okay, so we got a custom field control. Let's have a look in the DOM right here, and then we can get a better idea. So the thing with Angular, which can be useful, is that you and this is different to React. So React will not kind of the return DOM that you return from a React component will go straight into the DOM. In Angular, you get this kind of host component, so you can kind of see what's what in the DOM itself. So you can see this VDR form field. That can be used. Absolutely unbelievable. Literally blue screen of death. Absolutely unbelievable. Whoop, I'm watching myself. My computer just restarted, but it was a pretty fast restart. I need to go in there again, open up the IDE. Wow, what are we on? Quarter past was such perfect timing, wasn't it? Oh man. Here we are. We're back in WebStorm. Thank you for bearing with me during those technical difficulties. Switch to Mac OS, that won't happen anymore. All right. Where was I? Okay, I need to just start Docker up as well. Okay, I'm gonna allow you this. I'm gonna allow you this now because in my time of need, Windows truly failed me. I was, I was in there fighting the good fight on behalf of Windows and Windows developers who use Windows, and at that very moment, Windows completely failed me. So I think the abuse in this case is justified. I will accept it. Oh man. All right. Docker's going again. But why Mac though? Why not Linux? Yeah, why not Linux? Why not? I don't know. Um, can you get Linux machines that are what can you run Linux on Mac hardware? Because the thing I like about that looks cool about the Macs is the M chips that just seem super duper fast. Yeah, you can. Okay. Okay, I'll look into that. So let me share my screen again. Here we go. Okay. I'm at you're running Ubuntu on Mac. Okay. Cool. Cool. I will definitely consider this now. Right. So let's go back to packages, dev server, and npm run dev. And we'll go to packages, admin UI. Oops. What am I doing? Sorry, I did that totally wrong. Okay, npm run start. I see there's a lively discussion going on operating systems. I will leave you guys to it while I try and salvage the rest of this live stream. What are we on? We got about 10 minutes. So let's see if we can just at least get to the point where we know where we're going to render everything out. And then I think we're like most of the way there. Well, I say that now. We're 80% of the way there. There's only 80% remaining after that. In the meantime, while that's building, let's see. So I try and just like figure it out by reading code, which is something, unfortunately, you got to do sometimes. Even in these days of Copilot, I got to sometimes understand the code too. So we've got a form field. We've got a template outlet. Here's the template. Yeah, we're rendering a dynamic form input. I was there before, right? Let's have another look at this. This is in the case that it's a list. When it's single, it's like that. Yes. It's a little bit complex, the code that does all this custom field rendering, as you might imagine, because it's just a bit complicated the way it works. I mean, inherently, it's not like the actual implementation is okay, but it's more like just an inherently quite a complex problem to do these dynamic forms. All right. Product multi-selector, no. So you can see here are all the different inputs that we ship with for the different kinds of custom fields. And this is the one that's kind of supposed to choose. I'm struggling to remember exactly how that works. We've got a switch statement here, which is good. This is the Is this like the defaults? Yeah, these are the default ones that get rendered for the different types. Struct, we've got struct form input. Struct form input, that probably just doesn't exist. And that's probably why. So what I could do is I could just like copy. I could just copy that and paste it as struct form input. And then let's go and rename this. Struct form input component. Watch WebStorm now. Come on, rename the files, rename the files. It didn't rename the files. It didn't, did it? No, it didn't rename the files. That's bad. That's bad. It should rename the files. No, it did rename the files. It was just slaggy. It just didn't update. It renamed the files. That's good. Like, don't comment. Don't comment that it's making me nervous. It's like traumatic now. I don't want another B-sod in the middle of my live stream. So we've got this struct form input. Let's rename the selector. This is not renamed though. I wasn't clever enough to do that, but it's okay. We can handle that ourselves. Gonna ignore those comments now, Amit. That's enough. You're gonna get kicked. Only joking. Right, and then we need to change this here. Yeah, we want to change that to struct form input as the ID. Right there. Okay. Now, I got to go back. Let's see. This should be ready to run again now. By the way, if I do like get a blue screen of death again and it just freezes, let's just consider that the end of the live stream because we're quite near to the end. You can all log off at that point. See you in Discord. Right. Yeah. So let's get to the bottom of this. I want to just render something. And then I consider that a success. So we've got VDR form field. Let's go a bit up the tree. Okay, we've got VDR custom field control, tab custom field control, form field. Let's have a look and try and trace that. So custom field control. That's right here. That's where I was before. That's where I was. Inputs. Okay, so by the way, if someone just like sees something I'm missing, just throw it in the chat. But honestly, it's just a bit complicated. A host, let's read the doc. Let's read this documentation. A host component which delegates to an instance or a list of form input components. Okay, that makes sense. We got this. This is view container ref single view container. Oh man, all this Angular API stuff. This is a view child. A view child should be in here. A view child is something that's inside the template. And that's this. And this is okay, so this is ng container. So that ng container. Now wait a minute. I don't know. I just don't know how this works. Okay. Wait. Where are we? So let's have a look into the logic here. Maybe it's happening right here. So we've got get field definition, custom field component service, custom field component exists. This is where we're registering. We've got some kind of registry mechanism to register the different components that will be used to render specific data types. So let's look at this component registry service. We've got register input component. This is what you might have seen if you've ever implemented a custom input in your own in your own plugins, you will use this, which is internally using the same registry that we use internally in the core. However, where is this actually defined? I know that this is being used. Yeah. There is, I kind of remember, like some of this code I didn't touch for like a year or two. So this is why it's sometimes hard to remember. There are many, many lines of code in this code base, and it's sometimes hard to remember everything about it. Default form inputs. I think we're getting somewhere. Default, let's add it in here. Let's add struct form input component. Oh, now we've moved on from OS wars to front-end framework wars. Even better. I'm not even going to put those on the screen. I don't want to go there. We've only got 5 minutes left. So I've just added that now to this default array of available components. If this just works out, you know what? We should put some markdown here and just say, what's your, you got it now. Now I want you to comment. What's your go-to kind of string that you just log? Like if you console logging something and you don't care what the information is, you want to just do a word, right? Or you want to just show something on the screen. What is your go-to word? Go on, type it. Let's pick one. Like, you know, here or whatever. I am here. I am here. Yeah. Help. I like help. Here. Okay, we got, yeah, here. Okay, let's go. I am here. Let's combine them. Help. Copilot decide. Okay. No, I'm not gonna do that. Stuff it. Stuff it. Let's see if this does anything. I think if this doesn't work, if this does work or if it doesn't work, I think I'm gonna wrap it up after this. Let's see. Because I already had enough fun for one day. And I hope you did too. How many people we got here? We got 13 people. This is amazing. Thank you everyone for joining. It's really fun. I like it. I like the interaction. I don't take any of this stuff personally. Don't worry about the windows or anything else. I know everything's done in good fun, in good spirits. Yeah, it's all good. Where are we at? Okay, we're still bundling. We're still bundling. Yeah, we got the beer clinking. Why is this taking so long? Don't answer that. Don't answer that. You know what happens when I stream? Everything slows down even more. Everything slows down a bit. But this is super slow now. This is super slow. I hope it's not a bad sign of something to come. Come on. We're not got all day. Anyone know any good jokes? No. Actually, that was bad. Don't answer that. Oh, are we getting somewhere? We got something spinning and twisting around here. Okay, here's something sensible we can talk about. Do you do all your dev work on a laptop? I do, yeah. The main reason for that is that sometimes I'm here, I'm at home, in my home office right now, but we also got a beautiful office in Vienna city center, and I'm kind of working part-time there, part-time here, and I like to travel between the two. Yeah, so that's why I'm on a laptop. Sometimes on the couch as well, you know. You want to just hack away at something whilst Netflix is on or whatever. It's also nice to have a laptop. We're actually getting some jokes here, okay, but they're not sincere. I'm not going to read that. What have we got here? We've got an error. What? Okay. What? No, I don't understand. I don't understand. Struct form component. Da, da, da. Oh. Okay. I know. So we need to add this to the module. So right now we're still using ng modules, which are kind of being phased out, but they're still totally supported. We just need to add it to the module definition. But in future, we will kind of go with this standalone approach, which is a lot simpler, and you don't even need these ng modules anymore. And the amount of boilerplate on components will drop quite dramatically. So is it going to pick up this? Here we go. We're bundling again. Okay, it's 5:30 now, but I'm going to just see if this works. Are we going to see our message on the screen? Are we going to end on a big win? Let's see. Anyway, I think after all of your help with this feature, it looks like we're getting close. I think in the next day or two, the next day or two, it should be wrapped up, and then I'll be moving on to the other cool features on version 3.1. By the way, while this is building, let me just plug our Vendure conference that's coming up on the 5th of December, which is when we will be releasing version 3.1. So there's a little bit of time pressure. That's why on our timeline, we have that as the release date right here on the 5th of December at the conference. Yeah, we have a lot of people coming already, traveling from all around the world, from the USA, from the Philippines, from several European countries, from Africa. It's going to be amazing. And it's in our office in Vienna. And we also have these, we have some workshops. So I'm going to be doing an advanced, kind of advanced patterns workshop, which, yeah, basically putting together all the things I've learned building Vendure stuff over the past many years, and now working on really big projects with our team at Elevantic, packaging that all together into a workshop, which if you can make it for that, you will get a lot out of it. And hey, we've got something going here. We don't get that text, but what I like is that we've got a list of things, so it knows that it's a list. So this is really good. I'm going to take that as a win. We're getting closer. So let's just wrap this up now. Let's see. Is there any last questions? Here we go. Use ES Builder instead of the default Angular builder. It's much faster. Yes, well, when ES Builder first came out, I tried it, but there was some weird compatibility thing. Probably it's going to work fine now. Yes, Alam, our Vendure Conf is in Vienna, not very far from you. So, you're very welcome. Come and make the journey. Can you send your co-founder to grab swag again? Yes, Thomas is very warmly welcome as well. It's not free. There's a small ticket price, but for what you get, it's pretty good. Like the food, whoever was there last time knows that the food was amazing, and we're trying to get the same caterers again. Amit. Yeah, if you're in Austria, if you come to Vienna, come and meet us. Definitely, we would love to have you in the office. Just let us know. Okay, last few questions. What are the core differences between structs and custom entities? A structure doesn't create a new table in the database. Basically, it's simpler. It's much simpler. Yeah, it's much simpler. So for if you need just key values on a entity, then use a struct. If you needed something more complex with relations and you need to be able to manage it a bit more, have more control over it, then use an entity. There'll probably be a guide of when should I use a struct, when should I use an entity, because I think that will end up being a common question. Oh yeah. Okay, good. I think we're ready to wrap up. So thank you everyone for joining. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. We made some good progress on the feature. It will be ready soon. And yeah, see you next time. Goodbye.